Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wealth Conversation podcast with me, Tsitsi Mutiti. I guide high-achieving women on their journey to build lasting wealth so they can prepare for an abundant future in every area of their life. I hope that today's episode will help you to transform your relationship with money so you can make the choices that will enable you to create the opportunities and lasting wealth that you desire. Let's get straight into this week's episode. This episode is focused on one of the Wealth Cornerstones, physical well-being. My guest, Kinga Kovacs, is a yoga teacher, practitioner, and a forever student herself, who is passionate about helping people develop their own home practice safely and confidently on and off the mat. She considers herself no more or no less than a friend, and helps to make yoga accessible for everybody, no matter their body shape or physical abilities. Kinga wants to share yoga not just as a mainstream westernized physical exercise, but as a comprehensive, integral practice to help people live a healthy, balanced, and fulfilling life. Welcome, Kinga, to the Wealth Conversation podcast. It's so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to connect with you again. And I'm looking forward to our little chat.
Yes, so am I. I have to say, I am not great when it comes to physical well-being. So any motivation I can get from this conversation would be great.
I hope you will. Let's see how it goes. You tell me at the end.
I will. So let's start right at the beginning, Kinga. Could you share a bit more about yourself and your background to begin with?
Yeah, of course. So I'm not going to it might sound like go back to ages, but just to give you a bit of a setting to it. So I came to London in 2004. I'm originally from Hungary. And then I kind of worked my way up. So my first job was in McDonald's. And then I just worked my way up. I studied at uni and then I ended up in banking. And then I've got over 10 years experience in banking. And then I never used to be that of an active person, but then when I came to London, I came across some yoga classes and I kind of started to pay attention to my fitness. So I've gone into workouts and then I've gone into yoga. And then the rest just kind of built up throughout the years. And it's been supporting me ever since. So yeah, that's briefly to give you a bit of a background on me.
Fantastic. So, okay, you've come to London, you're working your way up as we all do. We all start like really low down the food chain, and now you're in the banking industry. You've discovered yoga, but then what motivated you to focus on yoga so much that it's now become part of what you do and how you help people?
Yeah, actually, so if we just look at the present now, so I actually stepped out of banking as such because of yoga. So and what happened was basically is I've been doing yoga on and off for over 12 years or so, and with work I had a really high pressure job in banking, and I reached a point of burnout at the time. That was around 2016-17, and I just felt like I don't really have a life. And I don't really have a passion that I'm doing. It's just work. And I'm staying at work all day and all night. And then I feel really stressed. So I reached burnout and I was really kind of felt the anxiety as well. And that's when I got to a point of like, something needs to change. And then yoga has always been my passion. And I thought this is something that I want to do. And I want to do it for myself, to go a little bit deeper into things. And that's when I did my first yoga teacher training. And it was a 10-month journey. And it was beautiful for my own development in one way or another. Just go a little bit deeper, get to know myself again, and just have that experience, and then knowing there's more to life. And then by the end of the course, I just felt like I do want to share this with other people because it really helped me with my well-being. And I think it would be really useful for others as well. And then from there on, I've done different yoga teacher trainings. I went to Bali when I took redundancy from work. And then ever since then, I kind of felt like it's definitely yoga that I want to focus on more. And now where I am is I actually left London. I moved up north and I'm doing a part-time job so I can actually put some more time into my yoga business. And I think that's the transitional time for me to kind of switch eventually into yoga and well-being. So there's a lot going on. And yeah, I think it's just recognizing all these benefits and then sharing it with more and more people. And that's what kind of made the change back in the past for me.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing, Kinga. And I think a lot of people, including myself, dream of that time when we can really follow our passion. And thank you for sharing, the fact that your job kind of pushed you out of it, because I think some people tend to stay in these high pressure jobs and don't follow their passions. And actually, when you do follow your passion, you can create so much more for yourself. And that, for me, is actually true wealth. It's not always just about the money.
And it's not always stepping out of things as well, because some people are really passionate about their job. So it's all well and good to stay in it. It's just figuring out that kind of, often we say balance, but sometimes things can be out of balance, but to find that harmony for you that kind of makes you feel alive, that, you can stay in your profession, you can enjoy, but just recognize that there's more to life, and then finding those things that keep you feeling alive and passionate and you enjoy doing it as well. So, yeah.
I love that. Find harmony in life. That's it. That's such a gem. So how, in your opinion, does yoga improve individuals' overall well-being, but also focusing on the physical well-being?
So I think most people start like that, and most people like I did. I started in like gym yoga classes, and it was about, well, for me, it was about like that connection with moving, breathing, and helping me to switch off mentally. So I think there is definitely a connection, and I wouldn't necessarily divide or make that division between like physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, because I think they are all connected. And so I think they all kind of impact one another. And so, well, if you want to break it down, then from a physical perspective, if you look at yoga, you focus on the physical poses, the asanas, and those really can help, to stretch out the body, to build strength, to relax the muscles. But then the breathing is quite powerful as well. So, the different poses and sequences of poses can help you physically, not just your muscular and skeletal system, but deeper systems like your nervous system, your digestion system, your respiratory system, all of your body. Can be really improved through physical poses, through breathing techniques. And also then a big part from the mental perspective is the meditation part and the deep relaxation part. So my kind of yoga is quite complex. So I'm not just focusing on the physical exercise type of yoga, but it's kind of like an integral system where you focus on the breathing practices, meditation, deep relaxation, and the combination of the whole gives you that improvement in your physical body and your physical well-being, as well as your mental, emotional well-being and spiritual as well. It depends how far you want to go with it.
I remember when I discovered yoga, and it was really at a time when I was trying to improve I was really focusing on my physical well-being, because the job that I'm in, I sit all day. So, the back was starting to get sore, and I'm just like, what's going on? I'm not too overweight, although, I wasn't focusing on my weight as well, but I found it really relaxing and so calming. But then for me, I kind of stopped for a while. So I do these sort of stopping and starting when it comes to any form of exercise, it seems. And so that's something that I have to deal with. I think when I started yoga, doing yoga on and off, before I got to starting it, I thought it's not for me, because all the yoga I was seeing was people like doing all these really intricate moves. And I was like, my body can't do that.
And it's putting people off, and it's actually quite frustrating, and it's really, really frustrating how it's all portrayed, and we are still on this kind of fitness type of yoga. And then even now, if you look at Instagram, you know, a lot of yoga people, they just posting all these inversions and really fancy poses and everything just for the gram, and I'm just like, that can be so off-putting.
It is.
The people to even start. And then it's that realization that there's so much more to yoga than that. And it really is, you can find your options for your own body and where you are. And I think that's what's so powerful about it, because everyone can find their own ways of doing yoga.
Yeah, because one of the things that really put me off was, you know, when you are online looking for, you know, whether it's a yoga app or a video to follow, most of the people are really slim, and I was just like, that's not my body. So how can I make my body do some of those poses? And it was actually when you know, I met you and you were talking about yoga, you thought, oh wow. And I saw, and you started putting videos out there, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, I can do it.
And then you met me, so you saw me and my body as well. You know, I'm not the slimmest of it all at all, you know. So, and I had those struggles as well at the beginning when I used to go, you know, and I had those, you know, being really conscious about my body. And I think that's when it comes to the teacher as well, you know, how they really guide you, and to give you those options that you really build your self-awareness and you feel into your body and what's good for you. You know, those poses don't necessarily, you know, you can find options that give you the same benefits and feel comfortable for your own body, you know. So I'm size 16, and yeah, there are poses that I will never do, and I'm totally fine with it. You know, I can find my way of yoga, and I know what's beneficial. And yeah, there's so much more to it than that aspect.
I love that. Could you take us through the method that you use to teach yoga to beginners or people who feel like maybe it's not for them?
Yeah, so there's a lot of objections, and then the way I would start, and that's how I created my little free guide as well, because I want to address those objections, because a lot of people think that they're not flexible enough to do yoga, or they don't have the time to do it, or, you know, they don't have the finances to, you know, to pay for a gym membership or for expensive studios, or, you know, there's a certain expectation maybe that they need to buy the latest, you know, they need to wear those clothing as well. So it's all kind of like, just kind of get to a point of, for me, and my method is what's so powerful to begin with, is building that self-awareness. It's almost like you get to know yourself all over again. So you build that self-awareness physically, mentally, emotionally, and you see where you are. You have some sort of acceptance and self-love to be okay with where you are. And it's all about how you feel. So I like to kind of guide people into practices to really listen to how it feels to be in certain poses, and giving options for them to explore. Well, I feel like this in this pose with this option, but what about this option, and this feel more comfortable, and then feel into what they should be feeling, but feel it for themselves. So I can instruct you to go into pose, and then often during classes, people just look at the teacher and they just want to kind of copy the same position without even listening to, and they want to try and keep up without even kind of paying attention what's going on in their own body. They just like, oh my God, I need to keep up. I need to be able to do that, you know, and then it's not about that. So my first step in my method would be building that self-awareness, and you build that self-awareness physically, mentally, emotionally. It gives you that starting point in life, not just on the mat, but off the mat as well. You start to recognize things. You start to recognize how you feel when you sit, when you're working on your laptop. You feel into your body. You start to feel into how you breathe, and then how you can improve your breathing with your shifting in your body. And you recognize how you walk, how you carry things. It's just you feel deeper into your body. And I think that's where you can start. And then you have a foundation where you feel confident enough to know what's going on. And then you can make those shifts. And then if you feel that, okay, well, I'm always having backaches, or I'm always struggling with this or that, and you can focus on those areas. The same with, you recognize your thoughts, you recognize your little patterns, you recognize what it is that's stressing you out, you recognize the little things that annoy you, or that, make you kind of not feel productive or not feel good about yourself. And that's where you can start going deeper and make those shifts into something that, creating this space for you on the mat. And it doesn't have to be a long time. It can be like 10, 15 minutes a day, just to give you that space to draw the awareness within and listen to what's going on, not to try to shut out, but to get to know, like, okay, this is how I am, and why am I like that? And then you start your inquiry into things, and then that's when kind of things start to unfold and shift. So that's what I kind of try and get people to do at the beginning, without having that stress of like, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's just where you are. This is where you are. And that's perfectly fine. And you already have everything within you to figure things out. There's no kind of expectations of like, oh my God, I need to reach this and that. Work with what you've got. And from there, things going to happen from within.
I love that, because, it is all about setting a foundation. And when I take people through my method with, focusing on money, it is all about, the first step is about getting clear on who you are, where you are now. So important to understand where you are now, because then you can work out the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to be. So I think we, as individuals, sometimes we try and skip that process because we want to get to the end, right? And really, when I started dabbling with yoga, it was about, I want to be able to do that pose the way the person on the screen is doing it. And I love the fact that you're saying, get to understand you, your body, how it works for you, and just be aware. Because, that I'm trying to compete with someone who's been doing yoga for, I don't know how long they've been doing it for, and they've also got a different body shape. And I think being able to recognize our differences is so powerful. And really
then with that differences, you're so unique, and you need to recognize that as well. It's very easy to, even I do it sometimes, to compare yourself to others, but every single body is different. Every single person's got different past, different conditionings. We are totally different, and that's what makes us unique. So you're no more and less than any other person. It's just recognizing, as you said, noticing and recognizing what's going on with you, because this is all about you. It's not about others, and it's not about comparing yourself to others. This is giving yourself that time to draw the awareness within you and work with yourself, get to know yourself and love yourself. And then it's also really important to recognize, I believe, that it's really difficult to feel like I'm never going to get there. It's always that chasing off. Like, I want to be able to do that pose, then I want to be able to be like that, or I want to be able to, feel like that. It's kind of like, it gave me such a big relief, that recognition of knowing that I'm already I'm already there. So, that kind of like constant chasing, instead of constantly chasing a life, or chasing a feeling, or chasing something that you feel like you're never going to achieve, or you're never going to become, it sets you off so badly. You know, if you then kind of shift things around a little bit, and then you start feeling into like, you know what, I've got everything already within me. It's just finding it, you know, it's already there. I'm already it. I'm already unique the way I am. And let's just explore that, you know, and it gives you, I think, such a relief and such a power in one way that a lot of overthinking and a lot of weight would just drop off if we just sit and say, okay, you know what, I've got it all. I just need to figure out how to bring it out.
Yeah, 100%. And as you were talking, I was just thinking of all the different areas in life that you can use that, you know, at work, when you're looking at, you know, the things that you want in life, when you're looking at how you are with your family, you know, that understanding that you've got everything that you need in you, you are enough, use that to build whatever it is that you want. So you mentioned, you know, the first step is build self-awareness. And then after that, what is the next important step for people to focus on?
So the way I kind of built my method into 3 steps, and then that kind of follows this philosophy, or call it what you want, is so once you build awareness, you've got that foundation to then being able to go deeper within, and you go as deep as you wish. So, and that's going deeper within, whether you want to explore more of the anatomy and really understand your body a little bit deeper, whether you want to go deeper into the body of not just the physical level, but exploring the energies within, exploring the different elements and connections within, and then all these how play part in your life. Go deeper into your thoughts, go deeper into your meditation practices to really start making those shifts, you know. And I think a lot of people might be scared of that. And I'm not talking about, like, I'm not a therapist or anything like that. Yeah. So I'm never going to kind of diagnose anything, and that's not my role. But when I say go deeper, you might recognize some things that you need help with. You might recognize and pinpoint some condition, like something that, like, I do need help with this because this is something that's been going on for a long time. And then you can find other ways, you know. So yoga is not the answer for everything, but I think it's a really, really good starting point to build that self-awareness, go deeper with your journey, to explore what's within you and do the work, the deeper work, whether it's that regular practice, and it might be uncomfortable at times, but you do the work for improvement. You keep that consistency with your meditation practice. I did a lot of journaling, and, you know, it's a journey, and it's a never-ending journey. And ultimately, my last stage would be, the goal for me is to feel fully alive in your present life, to just feel fully alive, because I think we go through life a lot where we just kind of living day by day and do the mundane day by day, and then wishing for something to happen and wishing for some other life, instead of actually feeling fully alive with this present moment. And then I think that's the kind of well-being for me. In different aspects of your life, you actually feel fully alive. And I think that can be quite powerful, you know, just kind of your connections with other people. You know, it's not just for yourself, like, yes, building that acceptance and self-love initially as you go deeper, but then sharing that out to the world. It might sound a bit kind of airy-fairy, but it's quite practical. I find it's quite practical. It's your human connections. It's how you deal with other people. It's your connection to nature. So it kind of then unfolds and it opens up so much and so nicely.
I love that. I love that last step, and, you know, feel fully alive in your present life. And I think it is so important. We're so busy chasing the next thing that we are not fully present in the now. And it's the now that is really important, and then sets you up for the next step. That's in my opinion. So I love those steps, Kinga. And I'm like, oh, I wish I had listened to this podcast many years ago. when I was exploring yoga, I don't think I would have stopped.
So too late, you know? So
yeah, it's never too late. Thank you for that. Now, you have recently completed a pregnancy yoga training course. How do expecting mothers benefit from yoga during their pregnancy? And also, why did you focus on this specific area?
So that's an interesting journey, actually, because the deeper I've gone with yoga, and we talk about this self-awareness, the deeper I started to explore being a woman. And when I went to Bali, I had a really, really lovely teacher, Bex, and she was doing she was organizing some women's circles, and she made us kind of realize that there's different ways of potentially doing yoga for the woman body, and now bodies as women are just so unique. So I started to go down this journey and shortly give you the story of it all, because I've struggled a lot with contraception, and I tried different pills, and then I ended up with a coil that I never really agreed with that much. And then again with that kind of journaling, and then, you know, just kind of knowing my cycle and knowing the different stages in my cycle, whether that's, you know, in my situation at the time, it was my period, and then not having a period, and how I feel, and the different hormones and things like that in my body. But there's bigger stages in women's life. There's, like, you know, different cycles in women's life throughout. And then that's where I kind of started to explore my body and how I am as a woman. And then to a point of that, I always wanted to have family, and I always wanted to have children, you know, and a lot of things need to kind of play out for it. But I ended up removing my coil, and then I ended up having a different relationship with my period, which was quite an interesting one. And then because I wanted to have children, I felt like planning forward, I should do a pregnancy yoga class just to kind of be ready for different options, you know, if I'm going to get pregnant one day. And I've always, in general, I'm quite a worrier. And I always thought that the moment that I'm going to get pregnant, I'm going to just worry for the rest of my life. And I was like already thinking like, oh my God, how am I going to feel? I'm not going to be able to do this, you know. And then all these things, the first time when I did my pregnancy course, that's when I the first time that, you know what, I can do this. It's just to sum it up, I feel like that it actually empowers women. Pregnancy yoga empowers women to offer a complete toolkit to use during pregnancy, and not just during pregnancy, but even during labor and after birth. And it's not just the physical practice as such to, you know, it helps to ease the body, because there's a lot of changes that the body goes through, and you've got a lot of aches and pains, you've got changes in your hormones and things like that. So it just helps to ease the body in general. And it's more about, it's not necessarily about overstretching, because your body is already kind of like changes and gets softer with all the changes and everything. So it's really more the opposite. It's more about strengthening, supporting the body, giving stability to the body, as well as nourishing and nurturing the body during this period. And you know, going deeper, it also helps to connect with your baby. You know, using the breathing techniques can help you during pregnancy as well as during labor. It can be really powerful, exploring the energies, and then again using the energies to especially during labor, you can take the energies down to help you with labor as well, and the different relaxation techniques that can help you during labor as well. So I think it's an empowering thing for women, because especially for those who never done yoga probably before, it could be a really, really good help. And it's the same kind of principle in my head, to build that awareness and get to know and go deep within on what's going on with your body and how you can manage that and how you can manage labor and the things that might come up. It's such a good tool to use that.
Yeah, I can now see just by listening to you how it can be so beneficial, because when you mentioned pregnancy yoga, I sort of thought, well, that thing came into my head about, when I was looking at my body and thinking, oh, you'd never be able to do those poses. So now I'm thinking of a pregnant woman, how can she do those poses? But yeah, you've explained it so well, and I can see how it can help through every stage of the pregnancy.
It's a very gentle practice. I mean, I'm all for a gentle yoga practice anyway, but in pregnancy, it's a very gentle practice. It really helps you to strengthen the body, to support, to give that stability. And it's more about that relaxation. It's more about that nurturing and nourishing the body, because there's so much going on with it during that period anyway. So there's a lot of, like, in my practices, yes, of course we move and we address different kind of, aches and pains, but it's all about breathing. It's all about preparation for labor. I do a lot of yoga nidra and deep relaxation, so women can really rest and then just go deeper a little bit with the resting. So it's very sweet and nourishing, I find. Yeah.
As you know, I believe that, wealth in its true sense is more than just money. So I know you've kind of touched on all these areas already, but I'd love for you to share for us in a few words, in summary, what wealth means to you in terms of the physical, social, spiritual, mental, and financial well-being.
I think it's all connected, as I mentioned it before, but if I want to break it down, I try to do this now to make sense of it all. So if we look at physical well-being, for me, it means that I'm strong physically and I'm fit, and therefore I'm supported. So I feel good in my body. I feel good energetically in my body, physically, as well as, paying attention for what I eat and how I eat to feel the digestive system as well. And then I don't have the aches and pains. Mental well-being for me, it means being clear in my head, to be able to stay focused and at the same feel calm. So I used to be, I can still overthink things, but I used to be massively overthinking and worrying about things. And, it can be very distracting and you can go down the rabbit hole. And then, mental well-being for me is that kind of resilience and clear in my head to, stay focused. And then at the same time, I'm calm with whatever happens. I'm able to react calmly. Spiritual well-being, for me, it's all about being alignment with my values. So it's like, so my actions are in alignment with my values, and that gives me a bit of a peace in one way or another, that I know that, I'm not out of alignment and I'm not doing things that just don't agree with me. So I'm all about love and kindness, as naively as it sounds, but I think in practical life, there's a lot to do around that, with other beings, with yourself, and with the wider world and nature and the environment as well. And that's when I come to social well-being. So if you expand it out, I find human connections really fascinating. It's respecting and accepting the differences in human beings, and learning from one another and learning from our differences, whether it's culture, whether it's religion, whether it's, there's so much that makes the life so exciting, I find, instead of kind of the division that we experience in so many levels lately. It's that kind of connectedness that for me is really important and meaningful. And social well-being, like my family and friends, and you've got that support system around you that you can rely on, but you can also help as well and support, back. and just being kind to one another and being kind to your environment and nature. So paying attention to how you live from that perspective. Financial well-being. For me, financial well-being is being comfortable financially and planning for the future. So you're going to be comfortable in the future as well. So I had a really funny relationship in the past with money, and I think that's because of my parents. I never wanted to worry about money, so I never really cared about it. And therefore I piled up some loans from uni. And then when I came here, I was like, oh my God, I used my credit card like not sensibly, let's just say that. So I piled up quite a bit of debt, not a lot, but quite a bit. And then there was a shift that I wanted to think about the future. Like it kind of just hit me that what's going to happen in the future, you know, not just in the next couple of years, but like, you know, if I want to have a family, if I want to have this, if I want to even retire and things like that. So then I kind of shifted and I thought like I need to sort myself out. So with the help of others, I managed to clear that debt. And then I started to think about, oh, I want to buy a place. I want to do this. I want to do that. So, and that shift, once you kind of move from debt to actually having some money, that's so powerful. And that's just got me excited. It's like, you know what, then let's just work with that. And so for me now, it's all about the future, to have that comfort, that knowing that you have something to fall back on. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's just having that comfortable situation, but only you can do it. And I remember my brother was saying to me once, like years and years ago, that Kinga, you might not have a partner and you might not have family right now. And it's probably easier if you guys do it together. But for now, just sort yourself out. So you're going to be ready for it anyway. So financially, you're going to be ready for it anyway, whether it happens or not, but at least you're sorted and you're ready for it. And that was the moment when it just hit me that, oh, I need to get my act together and be a bit more serious.
Yeah. And finding, as you say, finding that harmony in every area. Absolutely love that. That's my biggest takeaway from this conversation.
It's funny, it's actually my friend shared that the other time on Instagram, and one of my old colleagues shared it, and I just felt like, you know what, that's what it is really. And I thought about it. It's like, I think that's what it is in life. It's harmony, because things not always going to be in balance, you know, but as long as you feel all aligned and you feel okay with it and you're not getting stressed out about it, so you've got that sort of harmony, even if you work sometimes a bit more, then you know, it's always going to be a bit like out of balance here and there. But as long as you feel harmony, then it's all good.
Indeed. Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more, Kinga. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about yoga or attend some of your classes?
So I'm currently working through my website again. So that's a work in progress, but I'm on Instagram. So people can find me on Instagram. Vidya Kinga Yoga. You can find me on Instagram like that. You can also email me, vidyakingayoga@gmail.com. That's probably the two easiest way to kind of reach out to me if you would like to.
Great. I will put links to your Instagram page and also your email address in the show notes. Thank you so much, Kinga. You dropped so many golden nuggets. And yeah, I'm sure anyone who's been thinking about whether to try yoga is now 100% convinced that it's something that should be incorporated in their daily life. I can't wait to see how you progress on this journey with yoga.
Thank you. Well, I'm doing a corporate wellbeing course, and I'll be doing a postnatal yoga course as well, because it just sounds fitting and appropriate from both aspects. So yeah, it's all exciting times.
Indeed. Well, I look forward to having you back on the podcast to share more about how we can find harmony and balance in every area of our life.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back soon. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Connect with me at The Wealth Conversation on Facebook and Instagram so we can continue the discussion. Also, if you're ready to define what wealth truly means to you, then go to thewealthconversation.com and download the Wealth Cornerstones guide. Until next week, stay focused on becoming the designer of your financial future.